welcome Dan back to the stage.
Thank you very much. That's still playing Loads of Joy. That's good. I'm going to kick off the second half with 4 tunes, fairly new ones. The first tune is called The Fox. can see that train a-comin'. Watch that big light shine this way. Hear the whistle softly blowing. Lord, it's been an awful day. I watched them leave that Friday morning. It was in the month of May. I told my son to be a good soldier, but return again someday. He was returned 1 year later, and I'll not forget the day. The baggage car is where he traveled, and the casket's where he lay. Train man, keep the whistle going, make it warm, make it wide. You make a man feel mighty lonesome with a memory like mine, just like mine. In that little country graveyard on a dark and dreary day, they placed the flag upon the casket and the casket in the grave. I couldn't stand any longer, and I knew not how to pray. I cried, oh Lord, I hate to leave him all alone beneath the claim. Train man, keep the whistle blowing, make it warm, make it wide. You make a man feel mighty lonesome with a memory like mine, just like mine. I can see him as a baby, I can hear him call my name. I can feel him under fire and see him rising from the flames. Lord, if I could, I'd trade places, I would gladly give my all. I'd wrap that flag around me like a blanket and listen for the clouds to fall. Train man, keep the whistle blowing, make it warm, make it wide. You make a man feel mighty lonesome with a memory like mine. Train man, keep the whistle blowing, make it warm, make it wide. You make a man feel mighty lonesome with a memory like mine, just like mine. With a memory like mine, with a memory like mine. Thanks very much. That was called With Memory That Mind by Darryl Scott, one of my very, very favourite singer-songwriters from the States. And I'll sing a song of mine I haven't done for a while. This is called Time to Stay. I'm leaving in the morning, I am homeward bound. Reality is gone and the truth I have found. I still love this city, but I have to find my way back round. I just can't see me here 10 or more years from now. Things just ain't sometimes there's been no round. I still love this city, but I have to get back home somehow. But I can't wait to be back where I belong. No time to waste. The car is packed, so let's get going. I can't wait to go to the local every day. I'm not my time away from here, but now it's time to stay. Reality was sinking, and I don't know how many days. Funny how the right move could make you feel so many ways. I still love this city, and there's not a bad word I can say. But I can't wait to be back where I belong. No time to waste. The car is packed, so let's get going. I can't wait to go local every day. I've known my time away from here, but now it's time to stay. Reality was sinking, and I don't know how many days. Funny how the right move can make you feel so many ways. I still love this city, and there's not a bad word I can say. But I can't wait to be back where I belong. No time to waste. The car is packed, so let's get going. Every day, I love my time away from here, but now it's time to stay. Thank you very much. Cheers. Sorry, the banjo disappeared for the last chord, but it appears to be back now. Right then, so I enjoy playing lots of fast, silly nonsense on the banjo, but I also enjoy some of the slower stuff on the instrument too, so I'm going to play you one of those. This is a tune I wrote called No Way Out the Maze. Thanks very much. So that was something fairly un-banjo-y, and this is something very, very much banjo-y. I'll play you a couple of tunes I wrote very much in the bluegrass kind of vein. The second tune is a fairly new one. It's called Late Night Drive, which I wrote during a late night drive. I quite often write tunes in my head, and they just kind of come to me. So in order that I don't forget them, I rather tragically ring myself and sing it to my voicemail. So there's lots of random voice messages for myself of me going da 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 da, and usually I can't make head or tail of what it's supposed to be, but this one I kind of remembered. So the second tune's called Late Night Drive. First tune's a slightly older one, and that's called The Wrong Sample, which it concerns a story a friend of mine told me. He went for medical treatment, he was meant to give a sample of one thing, gave one of another, and that's as far into that as I will go. So that's the first tune. Maybe not one to do actions to. The second one is called Late Night Drive. I shall calm things down a bit. This is a song I wrote called "The Song Always Stays," and this is about a guy called Glenn Mason. I'm a massive sort of believer in the power of music and outreach and that kind of thing, and I used to do a lot of work for a scheme called Live Music Now, who basically, the philosophy behind Live Music Now was set up by Yehudi Menuhin back in the 70s, and the idea is to sort of pay young musicians at the beginning of their careers to go and play in places where music can really sort of make a difference, so things like special needs schools, hospitals, care homes, all that kind of thing. And I played a lot of care homes particularly, and there was one particular home where one of the residents was this guy Glenn Mason, and the first, well, I say residency, we played there like maybe about 8 times over a period of a couple of months, and so about once a week. And Glenn was a musician and an actor. Back in the 50s and 60s, he'd been quite a big name. And when we found this out, we decided to go and try and find out a bit more about him. And we found a few of his old songs, so we decided to try and do them in the set at the care home. So each week we kind of brought in a Glenn song. And so week 2 we sang a song of his called "What's Cooking Baby," and he was kind of ecstatic to hear his music again, but he hadn't heard it for years. He hadn't sung for a very, very long time. But he joined in with like the very last line of the song, and then he actually got really emotional, as did we. Yeah, I remember Nick, who I was playing with at the time, he sort of looked at me as if to say, you know, what are we doing next? And I was kind of like, let's do an instrumental, because it was a really, really nice moment. But the great thing was, with each week, he went from singing little nuggets here and there to really singing kind of whole songs again and really kind of finding his voice again. And he was ever the showman as well. He still kind of did all the kind of cheeky little looks he used to do at the camera. He was doing them again. And each week we had a kind of Glenn section of the gig, which was fine until he asked for a cut. But we did. We had this kind of Glenn moment in the gig, and all the residents kind of got really enthusiastic about that as well, and all the staff were dancing around. And it was a very kind of joyous thing. And so anyway, that was a really lovely experience. And he actually died sort of not all that long after all this happened, so he sort of went out on a real high, which was very nice. So I decided to write this song about him. And it's very much from his perspective, but it's called "The Song Always Stays" because this was a home, I should have mentioned, for people suffering from various stages of dementia. And some people in that home particularly had kind of, you know, some didn't even speak at all anymore. Some did, but kind of had all that really, really difficult, horrible stuff that goes with dementia, like not recognising people they should recognise and not knowing where they are and all that kind of very difficult stuff. But in spite of all of this, they could still sing the entirety of "Fly Me to the Moon" or "Sunny Side of the Street" word perfect from start to finish, which I could never believe how music just seems to survive everything else. And not only that, but what was really interesting, it wasn't just the kind of old familiar songs you might expect them to know. Even kind of some of our obscure folky stuff that we brought in, they learned that as well, and they really kind of channeled into that and would sing the choruses to that. And Glenn as well remembered so much stuff that he used to get up to back in his heyday, which I can tell you was quite a lot. He knew how to live, this fella. Anyway, it was just, it always strikes me that music has an awful lot of power. And there's a great effort from many utter cretins in the political world to remove it from education altogether, and I'd just like to, without wanting to get too preachy about it, I'd just like to say how much I disagree with that. Anyway, this is called "The Song Always Stays."
These two stand before me with instruments in tow. Chairs all around me filled with people I don't know. I've heard that tune before somewhere, but I can't remember when. But it helps me perform again. I don't know when I got here. It may have been a week ago, or it may have been some years. Sometimes there's a laugh and sometimes a tear, but but the song always stays. The audience is there, but I can't see the stage. The jet black hair is grey, and I start to feel my age. But that's a line, he's taking me to that time of my life when the stage lights shone so bright. I don't know when I got here. It may have been a week ago, or it may have been some years. Sometimes there's a laugh and sometimes a tear, but the song always stays. These two want to talk to me. It seems I'm not just history. I have a voice, and I have a choice, a meaning beyond just sitting here. I didn't sing that song at all for 20 years or more. I sing it now to people who are dancing by the door. Once a week I'm me again, the me from times of old. And my story now gets told. I don't know when I got here. It may have been a week ago, or it may have been some years. Sometimes there's a laugh and sometimes a tear, but the song always stays. I don't know when I got here. It may have been a week ago, or it may have been some years. Sometimes there's a laugh and sometimes a tear, but the song always stays. But the song always stays.
Thanks very much. Well, I shall do a couple more for you, and then I'll stop, I suppose. This is a song you may well know very well. Do feel free to sing or do any trumpet impressions you feel like.
Down the street and says, why am I soft in the middle now? Why am I soft in the middle? The rest of my life is so hard. I need a little opportunity. I want a shot of redemption. Don't want to end up a cartoon in a cartoon graveyard. Bone digger, dogs in the moonlight, far away from my well-lit door. Just a beer belly. Get these months away from me, you know. I don't find this stuff amusing anymore. But if you'll be my bodyguard, I can be a long-lost pal. I can call you Betty, Betty when you call me, you can call me out. Man walks down the street and says, why am I short of attention? Got a short little span of attention. All my nights are so long. Where's my wife and family? What if I die here? Who'll be my role model? Now that my role model's gone. Step back down the alley with some rolling little rat-faced girl. All alone. There were incidents and accidents. There were hits and allegations. If a strange world, maybe a third in the world. Maybe it's his first time around. Does he speak the language? He holds no currency. He's a farm man. He's surrounded by the sound of battle in the marketplace, scatterings and orphanages. He looks around, he sees angels in the architecture, spitting and fitting. He says, amen, hallelujah. If you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your lost pal. I can call you Betty, Betty, when you call me, you can call me out, call me out.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, I'm going to finish up with this one. It's been an absolute pleasure to be back in Manley. I'm going to go back to the sort of Celtic thing and play you a little set of tunes called the Banish set, which starts with a jig called Banish Misfortune, goes into what is actually an American old-time tune called Washington's March, and then into two Irish reels, the Swallow's Tail, and lastly the High Reel.
That's marvellous. Before I ask you to come do another one, which I'm sure you will, won't you?
Of course, yes.
Oh.
Big hand for Dan.
So just to finish things off, this is an old bluegrass song by the great Lester Flatt. This is called "I'm Going to Sleep with One Eye Open."
I just found out today the little game you play. Well, I've been sleeping all my life away. You've been stepping, so they say, between midnight and day. And you better sleep with one eye open from now on. From now on, all night long. You won't have a chance to treat your mom wrong. You've been stepping, so they say, between midnight and day. You better sleep with one eye open from now on. There's a honky-tonk down the road, just about a mile or so. And I understand that's where you spend your time. Well, you find out today, it just don't work that way. We started a little game that you can play. From now on, all night long. You won't have a chance to treat your mom wrong. You've been stepping, so they say, between midnight and day. You better sleep with one eye open from now on. You thought you were being smart, breaking my little heart, and leaving me to spend my time alone. Well, I've got news for you, got a little game to soon.